conduct final systems checks, and resolve outstanding issues prior to entering the terminal count. At the request of our customer, tonight's live mission coverage will conclude following confirmation of payload fairing jettison, which is scheduled to occur about 3.5 minutes after liftoff.
RCS temperature excursion witnessed during the CIS-A acoustic purge changeover.
Roger. LD, channel 1.
LD's on 1.
And MD.
We recently received a final briefing from Captain Jennifer Hayden, the 30th Space Wing's weather officer. The weather is within the launch commit criteria for today's liftoff. The probability of violating launch constraints is 0%. The ground winds are 5 to 8 knots out of the northwest, and the temperature is 54 to 59 degrees Fahrenheit. So the weather looks favorable, and we are proceeding towards liftoff with a planned T0 of 10:29:48 p.m. Pacific. This is Atlas Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. While final preparations for launch continue, here's a preview of what you'll see tonight.
The following profile details the important events of this mission, using approximate times.
5, 4, 3, 2. We have ignition and we have liftoff of the United Launch Alliance Atlas V rocket.
The Atlas V RD-180 main engine and 4 solid rocket boosters ignite to lift the vehicle away from the pad. Shortly after liftoff, Atlas begins its initial pitch, yaw, and roll maneuvers to attain the proper ascent profile and minimize aerodynamic loads. The Atlas V reaches Mach 1, the speed of sound, at 35 seconds. At 47 seconds, the vehicle experiences maximum dynamic pressure. The solid rocket boosters burn out at 1 minute 38 seconds. At 1 minute 51 seconds, the first 2 SRBs are jettisoned, followed by jettison of the 3rd and 4th SRBs a second and a half later. Approaching payload fairing jettison, the Atlas V is burning propellant at a rate of more than 1,750 pounds per second, more than 75 miles in altitude, 135 miles downrange, and traveling at a speed of more than 8,100 miles per hour. The payload fairing is jettisoned at 3 minutes, 24 seconds.
So ULA generally uses countdowns where the hold is a hold in the countdown, so the countdown is now holding at 4 minutes, even though the earliest possible launch time is in 15 minutes. This is simply a question of form. Some launch providers would have the countdown to the actual earliest launch time and just have the hold within the countdown, but ULA holds the countdown.
ULA is using an Atlas V 541 configuration rocket to launch the NROL-42 mission. This is the 73rd Atlas V launch since the inaugural flight in 2002 and the 5th flight of the 541 configuration. In Decatur, Alabama, the Atlas V 541 includes a Common Core booster powered by an RD-180 engine and 4 Aerojet Rocketdyne solid rocket boosters, a Centaur second stage powered by an Aerojet Rocketdyne RL-10C1 engine, and a 5-meter diameter payload fairing. On August 27th, the payload fairing, with the NROL-42 payload encapsulated inside, was transported to Space Launch Complex 3. The payload fairing was then lifted and mated to the Atlas V booster inside the Mobile Service Tower, or MST. This activity completes the stack and is the last major processing milestone. Today's countdown began with the rollback of the MST. The MST is 260 feet tall and weighs in at nearly 11 million pounds. While in the service position, it provides rocket and payload support as well as protection from the weather. About 5.5 hours before launch, the MST is rolled to the park or launch position. The MST is moved about 250 feet southeast of the rocket, a trip that takes about 20 minutes. The Atlas V stands approximately 196 feet tall, or about 20 stories, and fully fueled, it weighs in at more than 1.1 million pounds. To launch the Atlas V with NROL-42, the RD-180 engine and 4 solid rocket boosters produce a combined maximum thrust of more than 2 million pounds. With the MST rolled back, the team completes its final tasks before exiting the pad. Once the pad has been cleared, the Atlas V is fueled and configured for launch.
So to the bottom left, you can see the technical countdown, which is currently at 4 minutes, but holding because it's waiting for the actual launch window to start. And at the top right, you can see the countdown to the actual beginning of the launch window, the actual planned launch. So as the countdown to the top right passes by,
Tonight's
the 4
launch is
minutes,
for the National
one at the
Reconnaissance
bottom left
Office.
should
The
continue.
NRO is a joint organization engaged in the research and development, acquisition, launch, and operation of innovative overhead reconnaissance systems necessary to meet the needs of the intelligence community and the Department of Defense. The NRO is recognized for its transformational intelligence collection systems that are used to develop highly accurate military targeting data, support international peacekeeping and humanitarian relief operations, and to assess the impact of natural disasters. For most missions, our customers provide artwork which is applied to the payload fairing. The art for NROL-42 features a grizzly bear, whose forward stance conveys motion, representing a satellite's unceasing motion along its orbital path. This week, I had a chance to talk with ULA's Cameron Ozer. Cameron is an infrastructure electrical engineer and is part of a team responsible for all ground electrical requirements. We talked in ULA's Launch Control Center. Cameron, thank you so much for being here with us today. As an electrical engineer, what is your role at ULA here at Vandenberg?
Yeah, so I'm in charge of maintaining our electrical infrastructure, everything from the wall plugs that we plug into to the electrical substations. I'm also in charge of maintaining our fire detection system, and not just maintaining, but upgrading both the fire detection system and the electrical system. We have projects going on at Slick 3 and Slick 6 both for those.
So take me through what you do on launch day. What are you monitoring and how are you monitoring your systems?
So before the launch count begins, I actually come here to the Launch Control Center. I verify that we're in launch mode. I then go and I pull up our screens monitoring our electrical infrastructure, make sure that's good to support the mission. I review our fire detection system, make sure there's nothing there that we don't want going on. And then I pull up our screens to help me monitor different systems that I can turn on and off systems during actual launch day.
So you mentioned verifying that we're in launch mode. What does launch mode mean?
So we're fortunate to have redundant power systems, and what launch mode means is we prioritize which ones we switch to in the event of a fault or outage to make sure that we have the proper systems in place so that we can deliver that perfect launch.
What would you say has been your most memorable launch?
That'd definitely be my first, Worldview 4. So we had a lot of challenges to work through. There was a very large wildfire right outside. Inside, it was my very first launch, so I had a lot of systems I had to get under my belt and a lot of challenges to work through. Thankfully, I have a lot of really cool people I work with who are able to help me through, and we got that off as a perfect launch delivery.
Have you always wanted to work in the space industry?
No, actually I haven't. I was up north working in a completely unrelated field. My wife saw an opening at ULA, and First, we'll suggest that I apply. I wasn't entirely sure because I didn't know what I'd be doing. But once I got the offer, I did a bit of research and I fell in love. Launching rockets is pretty cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. We're all really excited for the launch later today, and I'm sure you are as well.
Thank you very much, Amanda.
This is Atlas Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. We remain in the planned 30-minute built-in hold as preparations for the launch continue. In a few moments, launch conductor Doug Lebo will pull the launch team for the final go to pick up the countdown. 29 engineers and managers will be pulled for system status and readiness to proceed. This is the final status check before launch for all Atlas vehicle systems, ground systems, the spacecraft, and the U.S. Air Force Western Range. The vehicle system readiness poll includes electrical systems, hydraulics, pneumatics, propulsion systems, flight control, and propellants. Let's listen in as Doug Lebo performs the final polling of the launch team.
Now, this launch was originally scheduled for 2 days ago, however, it had to be postponed due to
3 minutes till restart.
Status check to proceed with terminal count. Atlas systems, propulsion,
Go.
hydraulics,
Go.
pneumatics,
Go.
LO2,
Go.
water,
Go.
Centaur systems, propulsion,
Go.
pneumatics,
Go.
LO2,
Go.
LH2,
Go.
has gas,
Go.
electrical systems, airborne,
Go.
ground,
Go.
facility,
Go.
RFFTS,
Go.
flight control,
Go.
GCQ,
Go.
com,
Go.
timer,
Go.
umbilicals,
Go.
ECS,
Go.
redline monitor,
Go.
quality,
Go.
op safety manager,
Go.
ULA safety officer,
Go.
vehicle system engineer,
Go.
anomaly chief,
Go.
range coordinator,
Clear to proceed.
launch director,
Launch vehicle is ready to launch.
mission director,
You have permission to launch.
proceeding with the count. Timer set count to start at 05:24:48 Zulu for a plan T0 of 05:29:48 Zulu.
So 2 days ago, this launch was originally scheduled. However, it had to be
Polling is
scrapped for
complete
2
and the
days.
launch team has given the go for launch. From T-minus 4 minutes until launch, you will be listening to launch conductor Doug Lebo and his team performing the final steps in the countdown procedure. You will hear the team call out that Atlas liquid oxygen topping has been secured, followed about a minute later by the call out for transferring the Atlas and Centaur stages from ground facility power to internal battery power. At T-minus 1 minute 55 seconds, the team will command the launch sequencer to start, followed shortly by securing the Centaur liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen topping activity. At T-minus 1 minute 40 seconds, the team will command the flight control system to launch enable and arm the flight termination system. In the final minute, the Atlas tanks will be verified at flight pressures, followed by verification of Centaur tank pressures. A final status check of Atlas, Centaur, and NROL-42 readiness is conducted at T-minus 25 seconds. Seconds before liftoff, the RD-180 engine ignites and performs a health check, followed by ignition of the 4 solid rocket boosters to lift the vehicle off the pad. After liftoff, you'll hear the voice of Marty Malinowski providing launch vehicle ascent data.
2 days ago, there was an issue with the internal battery of the booster, so the launch had to be scrapped. However, this was apparent relatively early, and
On my
over
mark,
these
the
2
time will
days.
be T-minus.
This is Atlas Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. We anticipate releasing the hold in just a few moments.
2, 1, mark.
And we're at 4 minutes and
355. Ground power.
4 minutes and counting, as you can now see at the bottom left corner.
The countdown clock has resumed, and we are go for launch at 10:29:48 p.m. Pacific.
Three minutes.
Securing LO2 topping. Atlas tanks to flight pressure.
250.
FTS internal.
LC, this is NOPS OD. Hold. I say again, LC, this is NOPS OD. Hold. We lost commanding.
LC copies. LC copies. Countdown clock has stopped at T-minus 2 minutes and 39 seconds. LC switch is not ready. All personnel turn to recycle page 109. Flight control advise when you're ready to reset the clock.
Flight control's ready to reset the clock.
Roger. Timer, reset the countdown clock to T-minus 4 minutes and holding.
In work.
Centaur tank pressures are stable.
Roger. Atlas tank pressures are stable. Roger.
SS VAP's inactive, FCS in pre-flight mode.
Roger. FTS, place SRB ignition SNA switch to disabled position.
SRB ignition disabled.
All stations, recycle systems back to T-minus 4 and holding configuration. Hold occurred at T-minus 2 minutes 39 seconds. Report status at completion.
LC locks 2.
Go ahead.
Centaur LO2 continuing topping.
Roger. LC at step 320, Atlas pneumatics pressure stable at Alpha. Roger.
LCCS
Go ahead.
stable per step November.
Roger.
LC, this is fuel 2.
Go ahead.
Centaur LH2 continuing topping. Stable per India.
Roger.
LC, prop 1.
Go ahead.
Charlie and Delta are stable.
Roger.
This is Atlas Mission Control. We are holding at T-minus 4 minutes while the team resolves an issue. We are waiting for a new T0 and will pass on information as it is received.
LC, FTS, safe and external. Juliet.
Roger.
LC has gas.
Go ahead.
Has gas system is ready.
Roger.
LCAV,
Go ahead.
airborne electrical ready.
Roger.
Substep Echo CEC active.
Roger.
Substep Foxtrot Centaur pneumatic system stable.
Roger.
Substep Papa umbilicals ready.
Roger.
LC, this is the LD on channel 1.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. The mission director has requested us to set up a new T0 for 05:49:47.
Roger. Range coordinator LC. Roger, please coordinate a new T0 of 05:49:47 Zulu.
05:49:47 Zulu. And we're
This is Atlas Mission Control. As you just heard, our new T0 is 10:49:47 p.m. Pacific Time.
49:47 Zulu.
Roger.
LC at Oscar, countdown clock was set to T-minus 4 minutes and holding. A new T0 has been set for 05:49:47 Zulu.
Roger.
LC, step kilo, flight control ready.
Roger.
LC Lox 1.
Go ahead.
Substep Bravo, Atlas LO2 stopping.
Roger.
LC, RLM, net 1.
Go ahead.
Redline monitor is ready.
Roger. System recycle is complete. Launch director LC.
LD on 1.
Roger, we've completed the technical recycle and have reset for a new T0. We will proceed with some final preps and return to the L-7 status check.
Copy that. Thank you.
FTS LC.
Go.
Place SRB ignition SNA switch in the enabled position.
SRB ignition enabled.
LOX 2, verify CISA purge flowing GN2 to the CISA.
It's verified.
Redline monitor, verify redline monitor and event table are in the correct configuration for terminal count.
Verified.
Flight control, perform launch on time verification.
Complete.
Roger. LC switch to ready position. All personnel return to the L-7 minute status check.
Now this issue has nothing to do with the previous issue, as this is a liquid oxygen propellant loading issue, not a battery issue. The previous issue has been successfully fixed, as we've seen during the first countdown. Now it seems to be purely a loading issue, not a fuel tank issue, since they're going to retry still today, as you can see by the top right countdown. Now not much detail has been released yet, so they are going for a second launch attempt still today.
This is Atlas Mission Control. Our new T0 is 10:49:47 p.m. Doug Lebo will be repolling the team at L-7 minutes.
But if that second countdown also holds, then they may have to scrub it for another day and reschedule it another for 24 hours. Since the NROL satellite goes on something closer to a tundra or polar orbit than your average geostationary orbit, so the launch window is relatively narrow.
LCRC Net 1.
Go ahead.
Range is approved the new T005:49:47 Zulu.
Roger.
Atlas LO2 at flight level.
Roger.
Centaur LO2 at flight level.
Roger.
Centaur LH2 at flight level.
Roger.
3 minutes till restart.
Status check to proceed with terminal count. Atlas Systems, propulsion.
Go.
Hydraulics.
Go.
Pneumatics.
Go.
LO2.
Go.
Water.
Go.
Centaur Systems, propulsion.
Go.
Pneumatics.
Go.
LO2.
Go.
LH2.
Go.
Has gas.
Go.
Electrical Systems, airborne.
Go.
Ground.
Go.
Facility.
Go.
RFFTS.
Go.
Flight control.
Go.
GCQ.
Go.
COM.
Go.
Timer.
Go.
Umbilicals.
Go.
ECS.
Go.
Redline monitor.
Go.
Quality.
Go.
Op safety manager.
Go.
ULA safety officer.
Go.
Vehicle system engineer.
Go.
Anomaly chief.
AC is go.
Range coordinator.
Clear to proceed.
Launch director.
Launch vehicles ready to launch.
Mission director.
You have permission to launch.
Proceeding with the count. Timer set count to start at 05:45:47 for a plan T0 of 05:49:47.
Roger. Count will start at 05:45:47 for a planned T0 of 05:49:47. Zulu. L minus 5 minutes.
TD, report the SV status.
The SV is configured for launch.
Roger. OS, start list data capture.
Roger.
All steps are complete prior to terminal count.
This is Atlas Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. We anticipate releasing the hold in just a few moments.
Three, two, one, mark. T-minus 4 minutes and counting. 3:55.
Ground pyros enabled.
The countdown clock has resumed, and we are go for launch at 10:49:47 p.m. Pacific.
T-minus 3 minutes.
Securing LO2 topping.
Atlas tanks to flight pressure.
250.
FTS internal.
159.
Vehicle internal.
155.
Launch sequencer start.
150.
Securing Centaur LH2.
Securing Centaur LO2.
140.
Launch enabled.
137.
T-minus 90 seconds. The launch vehicle, payload, ground systems, and western range are go for launch.
FCS count started.
LC is armed.
115.
Reduce ECS for launch.
Roger.
110.
Vent valves locked.
T-minus 1 minute.
Range status.
Range is green.
Roger.
ECS reduced for launch.
Roger.
$40.
Stable at step 3.
T-minus 30 seconds.
28. 25.
Status check.
Go Atlas. Go Centaur.
Go NROL-42.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. We have ignition of the RD-180 main engine. 1. And liftoff of the United Launch Alliance Atlas V rocket carrying the NROL-42 mission for the National Reconnaissance Office. You are hearing the voice of Marty Malinowski providing launch vehicle ascent data.
OSM LC. OSM LC.
The Atlas commentator. Mission is proceeding as expected. We are experiencing loss of telemetry in Denver. However, we're receiving clean data at Vandenberg. Engine has just throttled down. Engine operating parameters look good. Body rates are good. Hydraulics look good. And we fired the power valve, activating the RCS system. fly normally. Up on bearing jettison. Approximately 15 seconds. Now throttling to a constant 4.6 G. Bearing jet. Disturbances look good. VLFR jettison. Engine is throttling back up to percent.
This is Atlas Mission Control at T plus 3 minutes 45 seconds. We've just seen the successful liftoff of the Atlas V rocket carrying the NROL-42 mission for the National Reconnaissance Office, and all systems continue to operate nominally. Liftoff occurred at 10:47 p.m. Pacific. At our customer's request, we will now conclude live coverage. Thanks to ULA's Marty Malinowski for his participation in tonight's show. For more information about ULA or the Atlas V, please visit ulalaunch.com or join the conversation on Twitter and Facebook. We'll now leave you with another look at tonight's liftoff. I'm Amanda Cooker, and on behalf of the entire launch team, thank you for joining us and have a great night. T-minus 30 seconds.
28. 25.
Status check.
Go Atlas.
Go Centaur.
Go NROL-42.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. We have ignition of the RD-180 main engine. 1. And liftoff of the United Launch Alliance Atlas V rocket carrying the NROL-42 mission for the National Reconnaissance Office.
So this concludes the official coverage of the Atlas V NROL-42 satellite launch. As usual with the NRO reconnaissance satellites by the US National Reconnaissance Office, the live stream was ended a bit early with the fairing separation due to secrecy issues. Now this is a bit of a formality. Technically it is relatively useless because what they're trying to do is to keep secret the exact orbital parameters of the satellite once it is actually in orbit, which kind of works for a week or two, but after a little while usually amateur astronomers just find the satellite with their telescopes. The thing is, when you have a few hundred or thousand people working together, you can, and you have a rough idea of where the satellite might be, then you can relatively quickly find it, and there's not really much you can do against that. So technically it might be a bit useless, but it's still a formality, and as a government project it has to undergo this paperwork and this formality to still uphold the secrecy, even though it's technically not very useful. So this concludes today's launch live stream. The next live stream will be on September 29th, an Ariane 5 that was actually delayed from earlier this month due to an engine issue. On September 29th, on the evening, Ariane 5 will launch Intelsat 37E and BSat 4A. And the next Atlas V launch has actually also been delayed, although an exact launch date is not available at this point. So this concludes today's live stream. I will now be closing this and setting the 24/7 ISS live stream back up. You can always ask me questions or discuss anything in the comments or the live chat. And as always, thanks for watching.